Hey guys, Sam here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to light like Roger Deakins in his Oscar-winning work on Blade Runner 2049. Now, Blade Runner 2049 is a very slow, steady, methodical, driving story with a plot that unfolds throughout every scene, creating an escalation of events and thus the steady build that draws an audience in. The cinematography is a huge part of what draws you into this film because the film is very visual by nature. It perfectly serves the story and the style of filmmaking. What I love about Deakins' cinematography style is its simplicity. Most of the scenes in Blade Runner have very few light sources. They may have 1 to 3 light sources per scene. Now, that light source may be made up of many different light fixtures in order to cover the massive sets and locations used in the film. However, the theory and methodology behind the lighting of these scenes is incredibly simple yet extremely resourceful. It utilizes the location, props, and the story of the film to their full potential. What I mean by utilizing the story is the lighting builds its own world within the film, which contributes to the story. Deakins uses things like water caustics, moving lights, and bold yet subdued tones to tell the story through motion, color, and harshness or softness of light. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down one of my favorite scenes from the film, the scene that takes place in the abandoned basement. I chose this scene because it utilizes many of the unique lighting techniques I've just explained, which can be seen throughout Blade Runner 2049, yet it does so on a scale small enough for me to replicate with my limited resources. So the way Deakins lit this scene was by using a single 20K tungsten Fresnel light shot through the windows along the back wall of the scene, with an Arri T12 Fresnel on a dolly track shot at an angle through the window in the right side of the frame. This light can be seen moving in the early part of the scene. Fresnels were used for these light sources because they made the beams of light harder and sharper, which creates the shapes that you can see on the walls in the shots. The floor was covered in water, which creates the caustic seen on the ceiling, some of the walls, and the actors' faces throughout the scene. These caustics were supplemented by bouncing a small hard light source off of the water and onto the wall in the background of the shot. Now, when I say caustics, I'm referring to the light patterns that can be seen on the ceilings and the walls of the scene, which are created by light bouncing off of the water and reflecting the ripple pattern onto various surfaces in the scene. The only other lights used in this scene were a few small sources bounced off of unbleached muslin or bounce boards to bring up the level in the actors' faces for close-ups. In my lighting of this shot, I chose to use my Aperture 300D as the moving light on the back wall. Now, instead of using a Fresnel, I use the open face LED chip because it gives a harder light source than a Fresnel in this particular light. The hardness of light all depends on your light source, but generally the smaller your source is relative to your subject, the harder the light source will be, thus making the shadows sharper, which is what we want in this situation. I put the 300D on a Dana dolly, which I then mounted on 2 low-boy combo stands and shot through the doorway window at frame left of my scene. This allowed me to get the nice smooth movement of the light you see on the back wall. The dolly track was positioned at a 90-degree angle to the back wall so the light would move from frame right to frame left as I moved the dolly from left to right. Next, I added in my caustic pattern onto the back wall by bouncing some light from a lamp into a clear bucket of water. Play around with the angle of your light to get different looks, and keep in mind the harder your light source, the sharper your caustics will be. If you get the water level higher so that your light doesn't have to pass through the walls of the container like they did for me, that's better because your caustics will be much sharper. However, this setup did the trick for this shot. Finally, I added in some ambient backlight coming in through the top back window to act as the 20K Fresnel. I used my Arri M18 clone to achieve this, which was mounted on a combo stand. This just brought up some of the ambient level and added the light pattern you can see on the floor. Now, if my floor had been covered in water like in the film, caustic patterns would have been projected all over the scene by this light, as well as the Aperture 300D. And there you have it. A really simple lighting setup which yields some very interesting and cinematic results. These techniques can be seen throughout much of Deakins' work, especially in Blade Runner 2049. The moving lights, water caustics, and silhouetted characters are all running visual motifs throughout the film, and now hopefully you can apply them to your own films. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys found this breakdown helpful. I'm really trying to grow my channel so I can keep making videos like this for you guys, so please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you'd like to see more scenes and lighting broken down from Blade Runner 2049 or any other films, let me know in the comments, and I can certainly go over the theory and lighting setups used, and I'll replicate them on a smaller scale. So thanks again for watching, and good luck shooting.